wait for the indication. Then I'll make the announcement. Okay, so welcome. This is Nuke Marine presenting Let's Learn Japanese, course series for the self-study of Japanese from basics and beginnings up to intermediate and hopefully advanced. As usual, this is a Let's Read Japanese, so up above is going to be playing what I'll be reading. The audio of what I'll be reading, in this case the anime Steins Gate. Off the side is what I'll be reading, in this case the rips of the subtitles from that anime. And as I read along to the audio, I pause and look up if I see a word I don't know, I pause and look up what the meaning of that word is. Figured out with a pop-up dictionary called Yomi-chan, and then keep on reading. Pretty straightforward. That's one of the benefits with reading on a computer, is that you can do something like that. You can quickly look up the meaning of something and go on. Some complaints you might see is like, okay, I'm reading a lot and I'm like looking up something real quick, but I'm not making an effort to learn what I'm looking up. Like I'm just seeing it real quick and then moving on. And that's true. Like I'm not taking that and adding it into Anki or some sort of method where I make sure, hey, am I really learning this new word? And there's a couple of reasons I've decided that it's not necessary. It's a good idea. I mean, it's a good idea if you do it. It's fine. I think I've explained it before. Is that what I've decided to do is like this is reading, as in I'm trying to get through reading a lot, but I don't want to skip over stuff I don't know. So that's really the main purpose on this. It turned out to be beneficial in hindsight. When I started taking what I've read, throwing that into Anki via Subsets or S or something, and then sorting that up with a program called Morphman, and then essentially learning vocabulary from material which I've already read or experienced. And it turned out like there was a lot of words that I did retain, I did learn via the immersion. And that was discovered because, hey, I'm skipping a lot of words. I'm not skipping, I'm sorry, I'm pressing, like words are popping up where I already know them. And I recalled that I only knew them or experienced them via the Let's Reads. And so there was that. And so, you know, you press K and that's fine. Until eventually you do come up to a word you don't know. And then I go and take the effort to then learn that word. So instead of now what some people do, they'll try to learn a word while they're reading. Others do what's called sentence mining, and you can sentence mine in different ways, but one is they copy paste that sentence into a spreadsheet or whatever and then keep on reading. Okay. Others, they'll copy it and then do a lot of work, then go back to reading. So it depends on whatever the workflow is. Mine's is slightly different in that I decided to where I'll learn words after the fact. Now it takes a little bit more work. Maybe it takes more work, it depends on how you want to look at it, in that if I forgot the context, I need to quickly look up the context, which isn't that difficult because I just go back to the text, because all the sentences I put into Anki via, and sort with Morphman, they all have an index on there, make it very easy to find. It's kind of like here, if I, it would have a number here, so it'd have like the drama and a number which indicates which line in the text that it appeared in, so it's really simple to find. But the and then you just kind of read the scene. Now great, now I got the context, and so I got a visual to the sentence. And the other benefit with Morphman is that it's not that one sentence I found. Now I can choose between a group of sentences, so I'm not really stuck on just one sentence. I can like say, okay, this one actually I like it because it not only is it a new word, but it's saying a phrase in a way that I think would be kind of useful to kind of have more into the active memory than in the passive memory. So that's kind of how I'm approaching it. And it seems to be effective. Now what I am not doing enough of is consuming Japanese. Now I'm doing this, but if you look at my schedule, like, I might skip it. Like yesterday I skipped a day. Now technically, because of, again, I went to a house party and so everybody's Japanese at the house party. So it's close family friends. So there I'm hearing a lot of Japanese. So there is that. I mean, I'm not comprehending a lot of it because it's 2 or 3 different conversations going on at once. You just kind of like decide which one you want to pay attention to, and it's hard to kind of like partake in it because again they're at a level much higher than mine. But again, that was just technically immersion, if you will. I mean, in literal form of immersion, if you would. But for the most part, let's say I'm not consuming Japanese as I should, and that's fair. And if I did more of it, I would do better. So I don't you know, like I said, I don't need to be on YouTube to do a reading. Now what I could do is like say, okay, hey, on this particular series I won't read ahead. I'll just only continue the series while I'm doing a live stream. That makes sense. And then find other stuff that I'll continue to read through. Now, like I should have done, I've been trying to do with Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, finish that up. I'm only up to episode 39, and there's 65 episodes to the show. Like I did a Let's Read up to episode 26, and then I only followed it up to episode 39. I need to go and actually finish it up, because one, it's a good anime. It's just that just need to go and actually sit down and do it. And just treat it like fun. It's not treat it like study, just treat it like fun. You know, and reading it like I'm doing here can work, or I could use what's called that program, Learning Languages with Netflix, or Language Learning with whichever way they do it, LLWN, which again is a very good program. Yeah, it all works out that way. I do enjoy the fact that I can be watching it and hovering over something and look up the meaning of a word. You know, I do like that. So in prep of that, what I did previously was, I think I've mentioned this before, you know, so I've taken a book like this. This is from an author, Higashi Keigo, and this is a drama which I really liked, Ryusei no Kizuna, and the book was different enough from the drama that was like it's like a new experience, but it was because it did follow the drama close enough to where you know, I understood a lot of the plots much more than if I just read the book raw, as in without previous knowledge. So there's that. Same author, he's a very well-known author, a very popular author, and I like the way he writes, and a lot of his stories have been made into dramas and TV shows. So if you do get into reading him as a particular author, you got the benefit of having visuals you can refer to, like, here, watch this particular TV show, then go read the book. Like, so right now it's like there was a TV show a few years back called Galileo. So here's the first book. No, this isn't the first book, sorry. Here's his first book. So he's written there's like 8 or 9 of these. They're about light novel in size. This one was 600 pages. This is about 300 pages. So it's like reading a light novel, but it doesn't qualify as a light novel. It's not termed a light novel. It's just a novel. Maybe it's because of who the target audience is. But again, this is 300 pages, about 5 chapters of 60 pages each. So, you know, you can get through it. Each chapter is like the equivalent of an episode of the TV show. Like, in fact, I remember the episodes, you know, because they said like, Totsuzen Moe, Moe got Wakamono no Atama, you know, so like the young guy's head that got caught fire, some heart that started rotting, the death mask found in the lake, that sort of thing. So these are all episodes of the show. So because I remember that, when I read the story, I can refer to that for the visuals. So that's the benefit of, now there's no audio to it. So for this, similar to like this right here, I'll just read normally. The benefit with this one, as opposed to this particular book, is I've got digital text. I actually know where to find it. In fact, I have the digital text. So I can read, and if there's a word I don't know, quickly look it up. So I got that benefit. Whereas with this one, if there was a word I forgot to pronounce, like I know what it means, but I didn't know how to pronounce it, well, sucks to be me. Whereas with this one, yeah, I can definitely look it up and like get reminded as to how it sounds or something. It's very unfortunate because I did look. This author doesn't have any audiobooks under his name. Which is, again, it's unfortunate, but he's definitely got a lot of good books. So Byaku Genya was like really good because it was set in the time of the Great Tokyo earthquake back in 2011. So it's kind of good. But yeah, and this is kind of good because it's episodic. So each chapter will be its its own little episode. It's episodic. So you can actually approach it in any order. I think you can approach it in any order you want. And then there's other books in the series. It's up to 9 books, but I'm just going to do like the first 2 books, although I did get 3 because it was like on a group set. Of course, I got books 1, 2, and 4, so it skipped over. I guess when I ordered it on Amazon, it skipped over book 3. So I might get book 3, and because that may be the first 2 seasons of Galileo. I couldn't really get into the third. I never watched the 2nd season or the 3rd season at all. I did catch a couple of the movies that were kind of sad, Galileo X, and I forgot the other one because my wife really liked the movies. So that's just another way you can get into it. And there's that, do it with the anime. That's my failing, is that I'm not consuming a lot of Japanese like I should be. And I've got the time. It's just that I'm fucking around on Reddit or YouTube or thing. I'm not even sitting down watching TV shows. I could, but I'm not. And it's not that difficult to do, it's just that I'm not doing it. And I'm sure if I did do it, I would be a lot better. Just because, again, just what I'm saying, it's like I know from doing Morphman and studying dramas, of studying Let's Reads of what I did previously, from even a few months back, or sometimes even longer than that, that there's stuff that I learned. So I do know by doing this Let's Read stuff, I am learning vocabulary. And so it makes sense, like as I approach, right now, let's say I'm approaching 500 hours or 1,000. I need to get this into the thousands of hours of reading. And I do like the idea of reading to audio. Just because, again, you hear it and you start, that's the voice in your head. It's like it starts sounding more, it feels more native. Whereas I know when I'm talking, I'm not, if I try to sound like the person that I've heard, I probably sound better than if I'm just trying to use my own natural voice. Because again, I'm American, so I'm raised. I think, I could be wrong. That's kind of like when I like doing these whole one time, I'd actually went on, there's a few videos of this like this where, it's italki, so I asked the tutor to read one, like the non-dialogue portions, I'd read the dialogue portions. And I try to mimic, the actor or actress in that case. And sometimes it was goofy, there's some clips of me sounding like a madman on what I was reading. But it was fun. And sometimes it's saying, like, that is kind of what speaking is like, pretend you're somebody else. When you're, like, pretend you're a native speaker. And so find a native speaker to emulate, and don't try to think of something new. Say what they've been saying, because you've already heard it, so just repeat what they're saying. And maybe you will sound better. Just an idea. It's not something I decided I need to worry too much about now. I want to get my passive immersion, my passive abilities, like comprehension, basically listening comprehension, reading comprehension. I want to get that up to a very high level. Then I can worry about the output, because I output enough where, I'm at a level where I'm fine in Japan for what I'm trying to do. I don't need to really output in Japanese all that much, so I'll be fine. But I do know I want my it doesn't matter how much I'm learning. It's like, man, I need to learn more. I need to get better. And the laziness or inconsistency is what's really holding me back. When I've got there's plenty of material. Jesus, there's so much material out there. You just walk into a bookstore, you've got more books than you'll ever be able to read in a lifetime. And just sit down and read, have fun. If an hour I can read about 20 or so pages, and then so in like 2 hours of reading I can get 30 pages in. Do that over 100 days, and that's, you think about it, it's 3,000 pages. That's like, yes, 5 books. 5 to 10 books. And it's just as long as you're consistent. Because I'm not consistent, what my ability could have been I'm sorry, what my ability is now is much lower than what it could have been. And it's no one to really blame than the fact that I've decided, not to use that time that was available. The time is available, just not using it. For other people, they don't have the time. If you're a full-time working adult, it's understandable. Like, hey, you can only get so much time in. If you have to direct your energies towards certain areas, and you can only dedicate like an hour or so a day to Japanese, that's understandable. Yeah, I get it. But for me, that was I'm not trying to make an excuse for myself. I'm saying, yeah, I am failing at that. All right, I've talked enough on there. Let's get to the news. What do you say? And maybe in a couple of days I might switch over back to YouTube, since I should be able to do live streaming again on YouTube. We'll see how that works. There's no problem with Twitch. Actually, there really is no problem with Twitch. Just that I might be able to get more viewers via YouTube than with Twitch, since Twitch is mainly known as a gaming platform, game streaming platform. Okay, let's start off with the sad story. This gentleman committed suicide a couple of days ago.
自宅マンションで
Okay, let's see if that's an actual phrase. Regrets, worry about. Shikyo.
都内の自宅マンションで自殺したとみられる人気俳優の三浦春馬さんをめぐって、室内で見つかった手帳には思い悩む様子と死にたいという気持ちが記されていたことが分かりました。取材によりますと、この手帳は比較的分厚いもので、日付などがなかったため、いつ書かれたものかは分かっていないということです。また手帳の内容は、死にたいという自らの気持ちの他に、三浦さんの思い悩む様子や落ち込んでいる様子などが記されているということです。警視庁は書かれていた内容などから、三浦さんが自殺を図ったとみています。三浦さんはおととい午後、港区の自宅マンションでクローゼットの取っ手に紐のようなものをかけて首を吊った状態で見つかりました。当時部屋の玄関の鍵はかかっていて、仕事に現れないことを不審に思ったマネージャーが警備会社の担当者とともに鍵を開けて室内に入り、三浦さんを発見したということです。
All right, and then what they're trying to do, like Lifeline or something about maybe if suicidal thoughts or whatnot, they give that number here as well. So again, this particular actor, I remember first time seeing him was in the 3rd season of Gokusen. Then he said, apparently he's been in other dramas that I didn't realize like he was in, like in the movie for Confidence Man JP. I didn't realize, I just didn't connect it. He was the same actor, or he was also in Samurai High School or Samurai High, whatever it was. The few other shows as well. So again, don't know the actor as a person. I just knew him only from occasional roles, and he wasn't really in any of the TV shows that I tried to watch. I didn't enjoy the 3rd season of. I barely enjoyed the 2nd season of Gokusen, so I didn't really want to go through the effort of watching the 3rd season. It just, other than watching the first opening scene where, again, the Yangumi Sensei gets fired once again. I think it was that time. It was from a English teaching school in Okinawa. Sorry about going off on a tangent for this particular actor, but and then they're having some dedications for to him yesterday, on TV or whatnot. So again, this has obviously just been in the news quite frequently. All right, next up.
流域は記録的豪雨による
上皇流域上皇流域武漢Wuhan. There's a flooding in Wuhan. Okay, Wuhan River Valley. 中国で記録的. Okay, and the biggest rainfall on record. All right, let's do it.
中国南部を流れる長江流域は記録的豪雨による水害
記録的な豪雨による
被害に見舞われていて、中流の湖北省武漢市でも被害が出ています。
湖北 Really? Northern Shore? Hubei. Hubei. Okay, this is the location.
こちらが長江の左岸になります。河川敷がずっと続いていたと思われるんですが、もう木全体が水没しているような状態です。
これは FNN が昨日取材した武漢市を流れる長江の様子です。武漢の観測点では一旦下がり始めた水位が17日から再び上昇していて、長江沿いの公園の入り口は厳重に封鎖されています。
厳重に封鎖されている。
豪雨のため長江の中流下流では13日連続で警戒水位を超えています。
警戒水位を超えている。
中国政府は今月13日の時点で洪水による死者・行方不明者を141人と発表しています。
41 missing or drowned. Okay, and there's been like heavy rains in Japan, but I guess nothing compared to that. I guess. Although no, there's been some problems, and the rains in Japan were still been heavy. How are we doing on time? Okay, so this is about the virus.
19日、新たに188
感染上昇者 heavy seriously 重症者数が増加
東京都で19日、新たに188人が新型コロナウイルスに感染していたことが確認されました。都内では新たに188人の感染が確認され、このうち濃厚接触者は70人。
濃厚
感染経路不明は118人でした。
Yeah, so that's from undetermined. So that's from heavy. It's basically from heavy concentrations, maybe in coming contact with people. And these are from unknown contacts. Unknown.
年代別では30代以下が7割を超えているものの、60代から80代で14人の感染者が確認され、異なる年代での広がりを見せています。また重症者の数が合わせて12人と増加しています。
いかにして重症者を出さないかということが重要かと思います。そういう意味で2桁に乗せるというのは傾向としてはよろしくない、というふうに考えております。
都内の1日の感染者数としては4日ぶりに200人を下回りましたが、今月9日以降11日続けて100人を上回っていて、依然として高い水準で推移しています。
依然として高い水準、高い水準。Maybe that's also not just the water level, but the standard. The standard. 高い水準で移転している。Alright, we'll do one more story.
"事故があったのは七飯町上藤代付
が息で切れなかった。負傷、峠。待っても。Okay. So I ran off a curb at the mountain pass or not? Alrighty.
近にある町道です。
Oh, rewind.
事故があったのは七飯町上藤代付近にある町道です。
七重町上藤代付近上藤代付近にある。
昨日午後10時40分ごろ、軽乗用車が路外に飛び出し横転しました。
軽乗用車が
この事故で運転していた男性が怪我をしたほか、同乗していた女性は意識が朦朧とした状態で病院に搬送されました。
朦朧、霞んではっきり見えない。blurry unconscious, distinct vague。意識が朦朧した。
2人はいずれも10代後半とみられるということです。現場は峠を下る右カーブの道で、
現場は峠を下る。
運転していた男性はスピードを出しすぎてカーブを曲がりきれなかったと話しています。警察が事故の状況を詳しく調べています。
Yeah, I remember like when I was driving from San Diego to Yuma, Arizona, quite often you got to go through the mountains, and then of course you go up the mountains, so it takes a while, and then when you're coming down, I tend to be really bad about letting just letting gravity do the work, and getting up to high speeds. Not a smart idea, but especially because if you do have to brake, you're going to be burning those brakes. It could be very dangerous. I kind of now I'm paranoid the idea of just driving through mountainous areas is because about the number of curves that you got to take, and if you're not careful, you will go sliding, and it ain't going to be a nice drop if you go off the side of the road. You're going to be taking a quick trip down. Okay. All right. So hopefully they recover. So that's good. Alright, so let's get back. Let's get to it. Alrighty. Close that out. Close that out. We are at Steins Gate, episode 21. Let's get to it. Turn the audio down to 30. There you go. Should still be able to hear me. And yeah, let's go.
ベータ世界線に戻ればマキセ・クリスが死ぬ。じゃあクラッキング始めるよ。待て。
Let's get cracking. I think he's trying to say let's get cracking. Cracking 始めよう。
クラッキングは中止だ。
Okay, 48.
Okabeは？
不明。僕忙しかったし。ではまゆしご分を。
誰か。
ご分。
コミマ今日が最終日だっけ？
クリスちゃんも来る？可愛いコスプレの子とかいっぱいいるよ。
別に興味とかないし。
オカリンどうしたのかな？
さあね、クラッキングを中止するって言ったっきりどういうつもりなんだか。
最高気温35度だって。熱中症防止には水分をこまめに摂るのが大切なんだよ。
熱中防止。防止。熱中症。I know that's heat sickness. 熱中症防止。熱中症防止。
今日もコミマじゃないのか？
これから行くね。
そうか。気をつけてな。
外日差し強いから。じゃあね。トゥットゥルー。
参り。8月17日 D メールを消すたびにマユリの死は1日ずつずれていった。初めは13日に訪れていたものが鈴葉のメールを消すことによって14日フェイリス、ルカコ、モエカ。その度に1日ずつ伸びたとするとこの世界線でマユリの死が訪れるのは17日今日の夜8時前。それまでに
オカリ
探していたのは見つかったのか？
もう少しで売り切れちゃうところだったよ。ダル君の分も確保したし。オカリンの好きそうなロボットアニメの本もあったよ。行ってみる？
いや、俺はいい。
どうして？せっかく来たのに。
少し考えたいことがあってな。
そうなんだ。どこか見に行きたいところがあったら言ってね。
あ。
大丈夫？もう帰る？
何を言っている。考え事というのはこの会場に潜んでいる機関の資格のことだ。
資格。
奴らを何とかして出し抜かねばならんのだ。下手に動くと感づかれる可能性がある。 夕方まで予定通りに行動するのだ。
そんな悪い人はいないと思うけど。
偵察に行ってくる。1号202にここで落ち合おう。いいな。
落ちよう。約束。うん。
おかり、ジュース向こうで売ってるからね。
あと5時間。諦めるな。それまでに見つけるんだ。世界線を変えずにマユリが生き残る方法を。
はあ、どうして私が橋田に協力しなきゃいけないの。ノート？サークル一覧？ないわよそんなの。ラック？2段目。あ、2段目は何？リアルに訴えるぞ。何？
俺だ。クラッキングはどうなっている？
あんたが中止って言うから丸3日ほったらかしのままよ。いい加減説明しろ。一体何があった？
マユリが今日死ぬ。
聞いたわ、前に。だからクラッキングが必要なんでしょ。岡部が最初に送った D メールを消せば。
ダメだ。クラッキングはなしだ。クラッキングをしないでマユリを助ける方法を考える。
どうして？
そうしなければならない事情が生まれた。
どういう事情よ。
今は説明できない。何かあるはずだ。別の方法が。
別の方法って？
頼む。
説明して。じゃないと方法も考えられない。協力もできない。時間がないんでしょ。隠してる場合じゃない、岡部。
やっと帰ってこれた。ねえ、オカリンはラボ寄ってく？マユシーはご飯食べていこうかなって。オカリン、疲れちゃった？
いや、もうすぐマユリはまた逃げるか。いや、逃げても結局。
オカリン、
行くぞ。
ねえオカリン、今日はなんでついてきてくれたの？結局どこもあんまり見ないままだったし、見たいものとかあったらもうちょっと案内してあげられたのにな。マユシーね、オカリンより詳しいことってほとんどないから。オカリン、今日はね、ありがとう。オカリンとコミマ行くの初めてだから、マユシーは嬉しかったよ。
マユリ、ルカ子がコスプレして恥ずかしがっているところを見てやろうかと思ったのだが、来ていなくて残念だった。
そうだね、来てたら絶対人気出るのにな。
だろうな。
そしてルカ君はいろんなブログに画像をアップされまくってワールドワイドなスーパースターになるのです。それを見てマユシーは遠いところに行っちゃったなぁと思いを馳せるのです。
本当になりそうだから困る。
思いを馳せるのです。思いを馳せるのです。馳せるのです。
次はオカリンもコスプレしてくれるともっと嬉しいかも。
考えておこう。
本当？
その代わりマユリもコスプレして参加するのだぞ。そうだな。だとしたらルカ子にクリスティーナも呼ぼう。そして2人がコスプレするようにマユリが説得するのだ。それができたら真打ちとしてこの狂気のメッドサイエンティストフォー・インキョーマが。
Let me see something. 真打ち。真打ちとして、競技、ランドサイエンティス、教科に、応募員、降臨。
富間に降臨しようではないか。
そうか、道分けはしいね。でもクリスチャンは脈ありだったし、まゆし次のコミマまでに頑張ってみるね。
次。
あれ、まゆしの海中止まっちゃってる。おかしいな。さっきうわっ、オオカリ。
やだ、もうやだ。ここまで来たのにどうしてまだ。
オオカリ。
ここでじっとしていろ。
オカリ。
変えてやる、運命を。因果を自分の手で。俺がここで跳ねられれば、命を投げ出せば。
因果。因果。cause and effect. 因果。
何かが変わるはずだ。何かが。
It's definitely a murder. I mean, it's not like.
マユリ。マユリ。
おかり。やっと役に立った。まゆしはおかりんの役に立てたよ。おかり
の。なあ、マユリ。ここからじゃあんまり星見えないな。こんなのあんまりだろ。
Okay, August 15th? 14th? 13th? Okay.
じゃあクラッキング始めるよ。
岡部？
お。
岡部？いつまでそこにいるつもりだ？
一人にさせてくれと言ったはずだ。
聞いたけど屋上に上がったまま何時間も物音一つ立てずにいたら心配する。いや、しないけど。教えて、どうしてクラッキングをやめるの？
お前だって良くないと言ったろ。
逮捕フラグが立ってビビったんですね。
逮捕？フラグ。Penalty flag, I guess. 逮捕フラグ。
わかります。
順法精神に目覚めたと言ってくれ。
順法精神。
らしくないわね。いつもの独善的な態度はどこへ行ったのよ。
独善的な。いつも独善的な態度はどこへ行った？
狂気のマッドサイエンティスト。
独善的でなんかいられるか。狂 狂気のマッドサイエンティストおーいん京馬、そんなの全部妄想だ、設定だ。気づかなかったのか。
初対面で気づいてましたが。まさかまたタイムリープしてきたの？何があった？散々相談に乗ってやったでしょ。今さら遠慮するな。今までも二人で考えてここまで来たんじゃない。
ここまで来たか。鈴葉やフェイリス、ルカ子、みんなの思いを犠牲にしてやっとたどり着いた。それがこんな結末なのかよ。
結末。
どういうこと？
どうして
ねえ岡部、あんたあの時泣いてたんだよ。明日も心配してた。怖い夢でも見たんじゃないかって。教えて。岡部の力になりたいの。
7月28日、俺は真由里と中鉢博士の会見に出かけた。
中鉢で中鉢博士、中鉢博士。
そこで俺は何者かに刺され倒れている牧瀬クリスを発見。電話レンジにつながっていたダルの携帯にメールを送った。1通目の D メール。ベータ世界線からアルファ世界線に移動することになった元凶。
元凶。
セールに捕らえられたそのメールを消し、ベータ世界線に戻るということ、つまりその世界に戻るということ。ベータ世界線に戻れば、あの D メールを消せば、お前が死ぬ。
出てあげなさいよ。出てあげて。
真由里か。どうした？
ダル君から聞いたんだ。オカリンなんか変だったって。
別に何もない。ダルの勘違いだ。
でもごめんね。マユシコミマに夢中でオカリンのこと見てあげられなかったね。昔よくマユシにいろんなお話してくれたよね。機関には幹部が4人いて、ゲップとスダチと声優とジャコ。
幹部。ゲップとスダチと
ブトスザクと清流と白虎だ。
玄武。うん。玄武と主弱。主弱と清流。白虎。ああ。
そうそういうね、オカリンの話とっても面白かったな。マユシンのことを重荷に感じたら言ってね。じゃとりあえず切るね。もしマユシンにお話できることがあったらいつでも電話してね。
マユリ、おい。
すぐに行くべきよ。岡部の声聞いてたらマユリが何言ってたか大体わかる。すぐに会いに行くべきよ。私のことは今ここで話してても何も答えは出ない。だからあんたは今まで一人で悩んでた。そうでしょ。だったらマユリに会いに行くべきよ。ここでただあんたに心配されても私のプライドが傷つくだけ。先行くわね。
マユシーです。今電話に出られません。
俺だ。
やっぱりマユシかなり前に帰ったってコスプレの子が言ってた。
そうか。
ごめんね。お盆だからおばあちゃん会いに来てくれたんだよね。最近怖い夢ばっかり見るんだ。夢の中でね。
Yeah, and just yeah. So usually during August is a time where a lot of people will go to the the graves of family members, and then do the occasional like ceremoniously wipe with water. Sometimes I'll actually clean, so whatnot. The family plot, because in the plot, it's just inside is a hole where you can get and store the urns. Like in personal family plot that my wife and for us is in a Tommy, then or near a Tommy, and then there's already two urns there. One from her aunt, one is her uncle, and yeah, so it's just again got room for like 10 or 12 urns over. Yeah, so it's basically, I guess, how it worked was like again as a group, they bought that plot, and then again every year or so we'll go there and recite one of them will recite the prayer, and then of course do the cleaning, add the plants or something, or the offering, or maybe even a little something for that was special to the people that are currently they've been placed in there. It's kind of interesting for the Atami was for there they've got a bus, like, so once a month they've actually got it where they've got buses that'll take people there to that gravesite for free, go there. So and it's basically allowing for older people who may not just keeps it cheaper, because if you took a taxi, buses don't normally go there, and if you took a taxi it could be anywhere from 3,000 to 4,000, or if it's a round trip it might even be up to 5,000 or 6,000 yen. So it's probably best if you again do it as a trip, it's again as a community offering. It works as a really good system. Anyway, just off.
いつもマユシはひどい目に遭うの。ピストルでパーンって撃たれたり、車の事故に巻き込まれたり。
Okay.
電車にひかれたり、まるで本当のことみたいで、すっごく怖くて痛くて 悲しくて、誰か助けてって一生懸命声出すんだけど出せなくて、どうしてそんな夢見るのかな。でね、その夢の最後にはいつもオカリンが助けに来てくれるの。マユシーはオカリンありがとうって言うんだけど、その声もオカリンには聞こえなくって、マユシーのこと抱きしめてとっても悲しそうな顔をして、絶対泣かないんだけど一生懸命我慢してるのがわかるの。だからマユシーもごめんねって言うんだけど、声はやっぱり届かなくて目が覚めるの。ごめんね、楽しい話するね。最近ラボメンがすごく増えたんだ。クリスちゃんでしょ、萌香さん、ルカ君にペリスちゃん、それとスズさん。最初は2人だけだったのにね。クリスちゃんなんかすっごい頭良くて、オカリンと難しい話なんかいっぱいしてね、賑やかでオカリンもたくさん話せて楽しそうで。でもね、たまには思い出すんだ。最初にマユシーがラボに押しかけた頃のこと。春先なのに珍しく雪が降ってて、学校が終わってラボに行くとね、オカリンはいないの。でね、お部屋の片付けしたりしてるうちにオカリンが来てね、おかえりって言うと、ただいまとは言わなくて、ご苦労って答えて、その後は毎日2時間ぐらいほとんどお話もしないで過ごしてた。嫌な沈黙とかじゃなくて、ただそこにいるって感じで、ゆっくりゆっくり優しい時間が流れてて、マユシーは本当に人質みたいだなって。
何かいいことでもあったのか？
いいことはなかったけど、あったよ。
そうか、幻想を見たのだな。
Fantasizing, right? Vision.
機関の幹部イリュージョンコンダクターからの攻撃の可能性がある。
Illusion conductor. Illusion conductor から。
そっか、じゃあ気をつけなきゃ。でもそのイリュージョンコダクさん、
コンダクターだ。
あ、その人は多分悪い人じゃないと思うな。最近ね、オカリンとお話しする時間ちょっと減っちゃった。
I will add real quick. How she's misunderstanding what he's saying is like, that's one of the things, there's some very similar sounding words in Japan on that one, but also it's like when you use a lot of the loan words, it's just that, just if you're not used to that word, then the loan word, then again, you might get a confusion like that as well. Conductor.
前はオカリンの顔を見れば何考えてるか分かったんだけど。
This is really sad when you think. I mean, because she's dreamt of her other deaths, so that's like really sad to read, and then, because I don't think it was in the story. It was like revealing that she is remembering in a way, is kind of like has a faint memory of all these things that have happened to her all these times. That's kind of a cruel thing to think about.
最近は分からなくなっちゃって。ただなんかとっても辛そうで苦しそうで、いつも泣き出しそうで、それはマユシーのことなんだって分かって、オカリンの重荷にはなりたくないのにな。ごめんね、なんかまた悲しい話になっちゃったね。マユシーちょっと寂しくなっちゃったのかもしれないね。おばあちゃん、いつまでもこのままじゃいられないよね。
このままでいい。
してここが分かったの？
人質がどこにいるのか俺は常に把握しているのだ。だからお前は俺の手から逃れられん。絶対にだ。
あんまり無理しちゃダメだよ。
お前に心配されるほどこの法院巨魔はヤワではない。話せる時が来たら全てを話す。帰るぞ。
でもその前に。
分かってる。ウーパのガチャガチャやっていくんだろ。
Okay, cool. All right, so that took about a half hour. Actually, I thought it would go by faster than that because I wasn't really pausing all that much. You know, aside from, I think the longest part was explaining about the, the family grave and the family grave in Japan that we have. That was definitely, it was a slow episode, but it was much, you can definitely tell, and it's easy to follow because it was just talking about essentially kind of like it was a slice of life. Very little scientific jargon, and yeah, I think that's what you find out what a lot of shows turn out to be. It just makes it a lot easier to follow, and then you just got to catch up to the part so you understand the plot, and then you just consume, and because it's comprehensible at this level of comprehend, it's definitely comprehensible. You just enjoy it all the more. I guess that's why I can see how. Let me just kind of go back on when you first start out. Let's say you're beginning to learn Japanese, and what the problem I had was when I was doing the whole thinking about trying to do AJAP was that it was just difficult watching a show and not understanding what the hell was going on. And it's not like you had like today where you had a lot more Wikipedia entries on various shows. Even 10 years ago or 12 years ago, there were a few, but it wasn't like that many. If it was outside of anime, more often for anime, but not for stuff like dramas, Japanese dramas, which I tend to prefer. And to make it work, I watched with the English subtitles. So that was when I first started off, and I could see how it was just a way to find shows, Japanese shows that were enjoyable to watch. Because if they were enjoyable to watch with English subtitles, they're going to be enjoyable to watch in Japanese. So there was that, and it's when I started thinking about it, it's like, I think the thing that was happening with MIA and also with the AJAT was a lot of things were putting the carts before the horse, which is, the biggest thing right now is when you first start off is getting to getting over that hump that's going to be stopping you from just enjoying stuff in Japanese, which is you got to get up to 2,500 words and you got to get 1,000 kanji under your belt, and then basic grammar. I mean, if you can get that quickly, then the sooner you can get into reading Japanese every day. Then you can not have to depend on English subtitles. Instead, you can just read it in Japanese and kind of look up what it might be in English. Or then later on also, see about if there's a summary of the show, then just watch the summary of the show. That's what you could do. Another equivalent would be like, you're seeing with Learn Languages with Netflix. If there's a sentence you don't understand, look at the English translation. You can do that. Or in this case, now we've got it Deep L. So now you can actually paste that sentence into Deep L and then get a really decent translation of what it would, a machine level translation of what it would be in English, which is kind of important because remember, like, to make it understandable in English, the subtitles make the story understandable in English. They have to sometimes put the sentences out of order to what would be the Japanese sentence. You're not going to be seeing the English translation below it. You're seeing, because again, it's just that it was better to put that information on the next line. So that information will be swapped. I mean, but if you looked overall, the same information was being presented, but just not line by line. It just goes the way difference between how English and Japanese works. Yeah, so that's one thing. Plus, you know, again, you don't want to do it. You don't need to do it for every line. If you can understand line by line, like I'm doing here, you know, you just have to take time out to just understand the parts that are, you know, the occasional line that was not understandable. Then, you know, that's what you're doing. It's like you are technically reading it with English subs, but now it's just English subs for the lines you don't understand, and that's, you get better and better at that. So you know, you start consuming more and more Japanese. So that's, but to bring it all back is like, when, for beginners, you know, I think there's been this push to do all Japanese all the time. Like, oh, you got to be watching stuff in Japanese, got to be watching stuff in Japanese. And you know, I think the key was it's got to be comprehensible. And if you don't have a Japanese level, it's not comprehensible. So you want to get over that hump. And that hump, I think it's reasonable to say it's okay. It's the equivalent of being N4. You know, finished Genki 1 and 2. But you don't want to be taking like college students do, which is 4 semesters to get through both books of Genki. Sometimes longer than that. You know, that's just too long. You can do all that within 200 hours of study. Within 200 study hours, you should be able to, you know, learn all the hiragana, katakana, which takes 6 hours. The 1,000 basic words, which takes about 60 hours. About 500 kanji, which takes about 30 hours, another 1,500 words, which takes about 90 hours, and then another 500 kanji, which again takes another 30 hours. You know, and then you add it up, that's a little about 200 hours. And during that time, hopefully, you maybe read some basic grammar information, either Kiradali videos or take hymns, whatever you use to understand basic grammars while you're doing this. And you are at a level where you can start watching stuff in Japanese and enjoying it, and, you know, deriving pleasure from that. And then that's a very good point to then, from the starting point there, is when you can start consuming, you know, where, you know, you're doing like I'm doing here, where I can't sit down and just watch anime because I'm not understanding a lot of it. For me, that just wasn't fun. But if it's fun for you, then go for it. But this is working for me, where not only do I watch it, but I look up the stuff I don't know real quickly. All right. What I don't like doing is going to a paper dictionary. So that's the thing to sped it up here. That's why I like doing it here, where it's in text in front of me. I pause real quick, look it up, and then go on. I can't do that when I'm watching shows with my wife, because obviously she's native, so she can understand even without paying attention, you know, whatnot. Whereas I have to pay attention to follow. And if I get distracted by something, then I'm not really enjoying the show. So there's that. I don't know. I'm kind of getting off point, but the main thing is that people are saying, like, you gotta get that basic in. Then you still gotta. You're still at the very. That's still at the very start. You just found you're past the point where you can consume Japanese in a way to where you can understand it without using English translations. You still got to look up meaning of stuff occasionally, you know, very frequently when you first start off, but you get better and better. But you still, you're at a great point. And it's like, I think that's when immersing yourself in Japanese becomes pleasurable. K2K White Mouse. Can you tell me what happened in this last episode? I missed it. Oh, this is where she's basically, he's trying to find out if Mayuri is going to still die, because again, it's been like he's already deleted 4 of the emails, 3 or 4, but yeah, it ends up, yeah, she's still dying, and then you're kind of repeating the same event again, but this time you're hearing Mayuri at a grave of her grandmother, and there you're kind of finding out that she's been dreaming about all the times that she's died. Like, she's had it's almost like she's had a dream of each time that she's died in this timeline. So that's kind of weird and creepy in a way, and sad, because, you know, and whatnot. So they're kind of having to, probably it's like made a decision that, okay, they got to delete. He's made a decision. Maybe he does need to delete that last email, and yeah. So we'll be going on to the next episode. Then of course I kind of got talked into getting into talking about stuff. I'm probably missing a few of the plot points and whatnot, since every time a email, then the death gets pushed off one more day. So he's going to have to go back a full week, I'm sure. Like, this is going to happen. Like, we're going to re-see the events of the first episode again. I assume that's going to happen. So, anyway, let's get started. Next episode. Being Meltdown. Let's get started. Alright.
.ベータ世界線に戻れば、あの D メールを消せば。
存在、孤独、白、メルト、being meltdown。
お前が死ぬ。
Okay, 142。
ここだったか。こんなところで寝ていると熱中症になるぞ。
あんただってラボの屋上で寝っ転がってたでしょ。それに今は曇ってる。真由里には会えたの？橋田が小見までは会えなかったみたいって。
ああ、その後会えた。
そう。ねえ、岡部。
なんだ。分かった。おい、雨だぞ。
なんぞこれ。もう少し早く忠告してよ。おかげで下着までびしょ濡れじゃないもん。
ちゃんと声はかけた。聞いていなかったのはクリスティーナの。
この変態。
別に見ようと思って見たわけではないぞ。貴様がそんな透きやすい服を着ているのが。
あんたが変態だって。
溶けやすい。Yes, okay. 溶けやすい。
こと忘れてたわ。
お前の貧相なヌードなど。
貧相。
見るに値するとでも。
それ以上言ったらあんたの大脳新皮質をポン酢漬けにしてやるから。
Great brain waves? 新皮質。I know, is that supposed to be a frontal cortex? Cerebrum.
どういう脅しだ。
近づかないで。
Browser King, may I ask what app are you using for this? VLC for watching the video, and then it's just a pop-up dictionary in with Firefox. The pop-up dictionary is called Yomi-chan.
何それ。
お前を探しているときどこかに引っ掛けたか。
ドジっ子。
俺の属性はマッドサイエンティストであり。
はいはい、まったく世話が焼けるわね。貸して。
世話が焼けるわね。まったく世話が焼けるわね。
ちょうどソーイングセットがあるから縫ってあげる。
Swing? Oh, that's supposed to be swing set. Swing set. Yeah, sewing kit. Sewing. Okay. ちょうどソーイングセットがある。
ソーイングセット？
これでも相対的に見れば家庭的な方なのよ。
相対的に見れば。
ほら脱いで。先に言っておくけど、この暗さだから出来については期待しないこと。あと糸が何色になるか出てからのお楽しみね。黒、赤、ピンク、確率は3分の1。
ピンクが出ないよう祈ろう。
来ないでよ。
安心しろ、お前の貧相なヌードに興味。
ポン酢漬けにするって言ってんだろ。
Pretty sure about something here. Soaked. Pickled. Okay. Tsukemono. Jesus. Okay, ponzu tsuke.
どこをぶらついたらこんなところ破けるのよ。
今日はラボに行ってランドリー、散歩、それからお前が泊まっているホテル。
ホテル行ったの？
お前のせいだぞ。メールの返信はよこさない。電話にも出ない。
まさか心配してくれて。
助手の管理はラボの主である俺の仕事だからな。まだできないのか？
ちょっと待って。ほれ。
おっ、冷た。お前
早く来なさい。マッドサイエンティストの貧相なヌードなど興味ないのだからな。多分この近くよね。私が刺された場所。
どうしてそれを？
やっぱり夢にしては痛さや絶望感があまりにリアルだったから。
クリス。
絶望感。
まさかお前。
私の中にもね、ぼんやりと記憶があるの。ハワイ、まるで幻みたいな記憶。
幻みたい？幻みたい。幻みたいな記憶。
刺された時のことだけじゃない。岡部のこともぼんやりと覚えてる。マユリを助けようと必死になって、一人で傷つきながらも前に進もうとしているの。決して元の世界には戻せないのに、それでも必死に抗って、マユリの名前を必死で叫んで、涙を流して、ひたむきに助けようとしている岡部がいるの。
ひたむきに？With一つことを夢中で。Yeah, with single purpose. Yeah, single act. ひとむき、ひたすら。
その顔を見るたびに私は思うの。岡部にとってどれだけマユリがかけがえのない存在か。誰かが誰かをここまで大切に思えるのかって。だから私は岡部に協力したい。岡部の手助けをしたいと思った。ねえ岡部、マユリを助けて。岡部はマユリを助けるべきなのよ。
お前はどうなる？ベータ世界線に行ったら死ぬんだぞ。
でもそうするしかないの。あんたが一番よく分かってるでしょ。選択肢は一つしかない。
お前を見捨てろっていうのか？
他に方法がある。昨日から何度も考えた。今までみたいに何か打つ手が、何か方法があるんじゃないかって。でも無理。今度ばかりはどうしようもない。ベータ世界線に行くしか方法はないの。岡部！
こんなの俺は認めない。諦めない。できるわけないだろ。クリスを見捨てるなんて。あいつを見殺しにして生きていくなんて。そんなことに何の意味がある？俺は
逃げたって苦しくなるだけよ。
うるさい！
何度タイムリープしたって 1% の壁は越えられない。
やってみなきゃわからないだろう。
マユリが死ぬところを見るだけなのよ。何回も。そんなの岡部が壊れちゃう。
壊れなどしない。俺が何回マユリの死を見てきたと思ってる。何回も見てきた。何回も何回も何回も何回ももうそんなもので心が壊れたりしない。何度繰り返そうが同じ。
自分が何言ってるか分かってる。マユリが苦しんで死んでいくのよ。そんなものなわけないじゃない。それで岡部の心が動かないんだとしたら、岡部の心は壊れている。もうやめて。本当に壊れちゃうよ。
分かってる。気づいてた。マユリが何度も死んでいるのに俺は驚かなくなっていた。いつの間にか心が麻痺していた。マユリが死ぬ時刻を確かめようとタイムリープせずに待っていたことすらあった。マユリが死ぬのに俺の心はいつからか動かなくなって、冷静にやり直せばいいってどこかでそう思ってて。
マユリを助けて。そうしないと本当に岡部が壊れてしまう。マユリを見殺しになんかしたら絶対に後悔する。マユリを助けようっていう思いだけで岡部と私はここまで来た。ここでやめたら一生後悔し続ける。
でもマユリを助けたらお前は
戻るだけよ。 D メールが送られなかった最初の世界線に。それが私のためであり岡部のためでもある。
この20日間何度も衝突した。互いに憎まれ口を叩き合った。
憎まれ口を
相談し合ったりもした。追い詰められた俺が助けを求めたのはクリスだった。俺の話を黙って聞き信じてくれたのはクリスだった。18歳で学術誌に論文が載った天才少女は
学術誌
常に冷静で強がりでプライドが高くておせっかいで根は真面目すぎるほど真面目で俺はいつだって彼女の語る理論にしびれて彼女の言葉を胸に刻み込んで彼女の動きを目で追っていた。単なる仲間じゃない。俺にとってマキセ・クリスは俺はお前を助けられない。すまない。
ありがとう。私のためにそこまで苦しんでくれて。
なんでお前なんだって。どうしてお前なんだって。
ねえ、世界線が変わるってどういうことなんだろう。もしかしたら岡部がベータ世界線に行った瞬間、この世界から岡部という存在が消えるだけかもしれない。別の岡部という存在に変わるのかもしれない。
そんなの
そんなことない。私は死んでない。ベータ世界線の私が死んでいたとしても、今ここにいる私が死ぬ保証はどこにもない。無数の世界線に別の私がいるかもしれない。その意志がつながって自分という存在があるのかもしれない。それって素敵だと思わない？あらゆる時、あらゆる場所に自分がいる。誰かを愛する強い気持ちが。何かを信じる強い感情が、何かを伝えたいという強い思いが時を超えつながって今の自分があるのだとしたら、それは素晴らしいことだから、見殺しにするなんて思わないで。世界線が変わってもたった一人岡部が忘れなければ私はそこにいる。だから
お前のことは絶対に忘れない。誰よりも大切な人のことを忘れたりしない。
それって
事実だ。
そんなこと、なんだ急に。
俺はお前が好きだ。お前はどうなんだ？
言いますと？
聞いておきたいんだ。お前は俺のことをどう思ってる？
知りたいのか？
あ、
顔を、目を閉じろ。
どうして？
いいから閉じなさいよ。別にしたくてしたわけじゃないから。ただファーストキスのような強烈な行為とともに海馬に記憶されたエピソードは、
強烈な行為。Be a purpose? Porpoise? Seahorse. Okay. 忘却。
忘却されにくいのよ。だから
残念だったな。俺はこれがファーストキスではない。
生意気な童貞のくせに。
うるさい少女。
童貞。Oh yeah.
もっともファーストキスはロマンチックなものではなかったがな。とにかく今のは印象としては弱い。もう一度だ。絶対に忘れたくないから根には根を入れる。いいな。
それならしょうがないな。キスだけだぞ。
This is kind of weird, because I think they make this big deal out of first kiss in these anime, and maybe also in dramas. And I mean, I can't really understand it, because again, I remember kissing when I was 4 years old or something, and I was just it was kind of like what's the correct word for Natia, whatever. Yeah, whatever. I enjoyed being with girls. I don't know, whatever. I just had a fun feeling about that when I was younger. So the idea of a first kiss was not. I'm pretty sure it was not like a romantic or anything kiss, but whatnot. But it's not like it's really your first of anything is probably not going to be that great. Especially if if it's the first for both of you, then hopefully it gets better than that. So it shouldn't be some type of, in my mind, I was it's imagine it's the very first dinner you prepared. Compare that to your 100th dinner. The 100th dinner would be amazing compared to that first one. I don't know. I think they make this big deal of the first experience of something. It's not, you might be, the fear or the uncertainty is there, and so those emotions are things that go away. But then that might help by those not being there later on improves the experience. it's kind of weird. Like they make this big deal out of it for, these dramas, and maybe I'm just because of my experiences, I don't understand the mindset. I mean, I guess it'd be kind of like making this big deal out of having let's say sex with a virgin. It's like having had that happen. I would say, like, again, the experiences, you've got to be much more careful with them because it's their experience the first time. It's not like going to be the most amazing time either, again, because, again, it's got all this fear and shame. It's like, hey, this is not, so you got to be, gentle and comfortable as possible. Just, I don't know, I mean, just, and again, I would assume, like, you would hope, like, that's, like, their worst experience, because you hope, like, you say it because you hope it gets better after that. If that's like the best experience, isn't that a sad thing? Like, because you hope you'd have more than that. Beyond that, it's like, yeah, I mean, just a mindset. So plus there may be, like, if you build up so much for that first experience, you tend up putting it off longer than you have. Because I've known, like, also in the military, I've actually worked with some gentlemen that were like one, he was a virgin. And he was 28. This is when I was in the Marine Corps, and so he's proud virgin and whatnot, so no problem there. Just he chose not to have sex. Another gentleman, he was in his when I got in the Navy, he was also famously a virgin. Not famously, sorry, but but he wasn't. It was like almost like but he did eventually did have sex. So it wasn't like he was waiting for marriage. He was just for some reason never had sex. So but eventually then of course he then. Like a silly guy, he ended up trying to marry the first lady he had sex with, which ended up poorly, by the way. The marriage ended up poorly that way, but I think that's not related to the fact of, but again, it was like, hopefully it got better after that. That wasn't like his greatest experience was the first time. That's hopefully, if all goes well, that is your worst experience, and that's not said in a negative way. So it's hopefully, again, it gets better for that. So. Quinzar, howdy, I just joined your Patreon. Of course, they're going through remembering the kind of good stuff, sir. All right, cool. All right, hopefully that goes out well. And sorry about this whole conversation. It's just that, you see this, and I can't really think of a first kiss, because it was like, again, the first kiss happened when I was so young, and it's usually like, it's like the, one of the neighbors and whatnot. So, like, I'm 4 and she's 5. Or then one time it was like with the, really, it wasn't really, like I was in first grade and it was one of the 4th grade girls or whatever, because she was just happened to be visiting, so whatever. It just, I do remember, like, the fluttery feeling in your chest or whatnot as a kid. It's just like, you get all excited when it happens, but it's not like I'm remembering. It's just I don't really remember the first time. I do remember, like, certain kisses through that time, but that's when you're like, elementary school and something, and then it's different than when you get into high school. It's different when you get into adulthood, and it's different than what the type of who you experience it with, and that's with kissing. And then of course the sexual activity would be kind of in similar ways, and yeah, so it's just unusual. And I think, like, there's, like, in here there's too much emphasis put on that first experience as opposed to continuing the experience, and each one being better than the last. I mean, wouldn't that be a great thing? If they encourage something like that instead of, like, making this big deal out of this. So you get rid of these whole dramas, like in the U.S. the same way, where you got, like, will they, won't they? They make this big build up when it finally happens. It's like, okay, it finally happened, but you hope if they instead say, hey, what would their 100th time be? Imagine if your 100th one, what was it? It was starting to think, like, the Princess Bride. I think they try to make this out of, they've kissed before, but again, one of the best kiss in the story still happened later on. It wasn't their first one, it was one of the last kisses in the story, which I thought was kind of a better way of putting it, if you will. Okay, I've talked enough about this, so let's go on.
時間があっという間に流れていく。今だけはアインシュタインに文句を言いたい気分。ねえ岡部、時間は人の意識によって長くなったり短くなったりする。相対性理論ってとてもロマンチックでとても 切ないものだね。それじゃあ
マユリとダルは本当にいいのか？
みんなに見送られると辛くなるから、岡部だけなら何のためらいもなく日本を立てる。ジョークよ。
手土産だ、受け取れ。
いらね
バージョン 2.6 なのにアップデートしてやる。
え。ややこしいわね。でもまあ受け取っておく。じゃあ
クリス。
そうだ、お返し。
おあ、
It's gonna
どこ
blow.
に投げている？
ちゃんと受け取れ。
ったく。
Nice trick.
岡部、これからきっと岡部は辛い思いをする。私のことを誰も覚えていない世界でただ一人私を覚えているなんて。仲間を何より大事にする岡部には辛いことだと思う。ごめんね。でも私にはその辛さが愛おしい。ラボにいる何気ない時間、ジュースを口にした時、
Let me see. Wait a minute. Toshi.
街を歩くその一瞬、いつか誰かとキスした時、いつもじゃなくてもいい、100回に1回でもいい、私を思い出してほしい。そこに私はいるから。1% の壁の向こうに私は必ずいるから。岡部、岡部、岡部。
あった、オカレ見つけた。マジであったぞ、これっしょ。
これを消せば
ミッションコンプリート。
オカリン、大丈
大丈夫だ。これよりオペレーションベルダンで最終フェーズを開始する。勝利の時は来た。あらゆる陰謀に屈せず己の
Wait a minute. Imbo. Imbo conspiracy.
己の信念を貫き、我々はついにラグナロックを戦い抜いたのだ。この勝利のために我が手足となって戦ってくれた仲間たちに感謝を。犠牲となった全ての思いに感謝を。訪れるのは俺が望んだ世界であり、全てはシュタインズゲートの選択である。世界は再構築される。クリス、すまない。
岡部、私も
クリス、
私も岡部のことが。
マユリ、
ん
ラボメンナンバー004は誰だ？
004？ 004の人はいないよ。
今ここにラグナロックの勝敗は消した。この俺、狂気のマッドサイエンティストである法王院教魔は機関及びセルンのあらゆる攻撃に対し地空を操ることで完全に勝利したのだ。世界の支配構造はリセットされ、混沌の未来が待つやろう。
混沌。
これこそがシュタインズゲートの選択。
オカリン、もういいんだよ。
何を？俺は今華麗なる勝利宣言を。
もうその口を続けなくてもいいんだよ。マユシーはもう大丈夫だから。オカリンはオカリンのために泣いてもいいんだよ。
電話レンジはもういらない。このマシンがあったことでクリスと出会えた。けれどこのマシンがあったことでたくさんの人が傷ついた。法王院教魔が死んだように電話レンジもまた死ぬべきなのだ。生きることは本来やり直しが効かないことだから。これでいいんだ。そうだよな、クリス。
はい。誰？父さん？何？オカリン？オカリン、謎の女が変わるってさ。
誰だ？
お願い、今すぐラジカン屋上に来て。
ああ、お前は。
私は2036年から来た橋田至の娘、アマネスズハ。
スズハ？ちょっと待って、スズハがなんでここにいるんだ？
お願い、私の言うことを信じて。第三次世界大戦を防ぐために。
Gosh, would have been useful to. Maybe he shouldn't have just given away or sent away the whole time traveling device. But okay. Okay. Oh, we gotta avoid. We gotta prevent World War III. World War III. Okay. Sure. Yeah. It's like the end of Back to the Future. It's your kids, Marty. There's something wrong with them. Which was a dumb. I mean, when you think about the whole plot to save Marty's kids, I mean, that was a really dumb plan. It's like, I'm sorry to think about Back to the Future. Like, there was really zero need for him to go all the way back to bring those two to help him save Marty's kids. There was like zero. He could have done that all on his own without screwing up the timeline like it ended up happening. All right, what am I thinking? Anyway, so yeah, that was a sad episode. Actually, the last two episodes are like really sad because you basically are seeing like Mayuri's last day and then Chris's last day, in a way, where he's basically kind of saying goodbye to both of them, and or who they were, who they became, and then of course now it comes back. Now the timeline's back to where it was. and then something else happens. So, now I know there's some other stories with Steins Gate. There's like Steins Gate Zero, and there's the visual novels. I don't know what fully it doesn't seem like there's that much more added to the storyline from what I'm noticing. So this is kind of like, this is as a story is kind of like self-enclosed, self-contained. Sorry. Let me turn up the volume. So all in all, yeah, like I say, it's a good story. I enjoyed it. A lot of fun, a lot of laughing. Kind of dark at times, but not too much. And you know, the lead character is kind of a weird, goofy character. A very colorful cast of characters, so it's quite enjoyable. And I'm pretty sure I'm missing quite a few of the stories. So what I do is I try to catch up. I'll read on the wiki the summary, and kind of like if there was something that I missed, then catch up on it. But I don't think there was too much missed here. It's just a matter of how the plot's working. And this is where I'm saying, where if you are consuming Japanese, this is kind of what you need to do, just hours upon hours of it. So it's like, for me, doing this reading here is kind of like, I want to say, kind of feels like 15 to 30 pages. Let's see, 26 episodes. Yeah, we'll say around 20 pages. I think that's 20 pages is a bit too much. Yeah, 15 pages. So basically 2 episodes, so two episodes is kind of like having like a 15 page, kind of like a chapter out of a book. And yeah, it feels about right. And 30 pages. I'm trying to think. Maybe I'm thinking wrong. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, I'm getting I'm getting distracted in thoughts. When I try to think of numbers and whatnot, I tend to concentrate a bit too much. But yeah, the idea is just do more of this a day. I might not. I'm enjoying these Let's Reads. I enjoy making the videos, and I just need to make sure I do more. Not just the video thing. That's fine. I think I do plenty of as far as videos are concerned. But just a matter of making sure that then I go and offline, besides the studying, which I need to do more of, the actual active study, then with with doing more of these readings, just it could be with books, it could be with TV shows, whatever. I mean, there's so much there, and I don't need to think like, oh, let me just wait for me to do it as a Let's Read. And how about just go and do it? I've got the subtitles. I just rip the subs so I can read it like a text and then play the show, and do it like that. And I think it works quite well. There's a number of shows that I could maybe enjoy. Yeah. All right, I think that's about it for today. So 2 more episodes after this. Again, starting so if all goes well, starting Wednesday, I'll be back on Harry Potter, be finishing off the second half of the 3rd book, and then after that I'm done with Harry Potter as far as the audiobooks are concerned. I'll then start up on Attack on Titan. I'll do the 1st season of Attack on Titan. That's 25 episodes. And I do plan on, with Attack on Titan, I've watched all the episodes, but it's mainly been with English subs. So I need to, because I really shouldn't, but I did. But I need to. Actually, no, I take that back, because I did finish it, and I started just watching the last episode. So I want to do the whole experience again, but completely in Japanese, not just in like the first half was with English subs, and then later on when I the last season I did watch it in Japanese, but I like doing it like here, where if there's points I'm missing, then I can get and look it up and like, oh, okay, yeah, I remember that. It's just a lot of fun doing this, and that's just building the part that can't be explained. It's just the comprehension, like the native level comprehension that you need, to really be at native level fluency. Because if you can't understand it at a native level, you're probably not going to be speaking at a native level. That's kind of the mindset that many of us have been taking. I think it's a good mindset, but that also means though it's not. You gotta put in the hours. Like you gotta basically reprogram the brain in such a way, and the only way to do it is through the equivalent of deep learning, which is throwing shitloads of information at your brain and then having your brain do whatever it does to make it to where it can now understand stuff at an intuitive level. Yeah. All right. So yeah, see you tomorrow. Finish up these last 2 episodes. See what's all. I'm kind of interested in knowing how this all kind of ends up, because right now it's kind of was a little boring, right? Like if you just stopped to hear, it's like, wow, what a depressing episode. And if you didn't catch it, there was a stinger on the on the credits, then you would have gone into the next episode like, hey, what the heck happened? All right. So thank you all very much. This is Nick Marine. I'll be back tomorrow. Finish up the next 2 episodes. Then let's get back into Harry Potter, and then finish that up, and then let's get to Attack on Titan. Finish that up, and then we're into dramas and novels. All right. Good evening. Yeah, and y'all too. And let's just say thanks for watching. I will say also, and I apologize if you've been following this on Twitch. Yeah, I might, since my ability to stream on YouTube should be returning in a couple more days, I might start doing live streams on YouTube again. It depends. Yeah, it's just it's either one works. It's just though, it's been fun actually on Twitch. It's not too bad, but yeah, just I don't know. I tend to probably get better results doing it on YouTube. All right, thank you guys, and later.